Good evening, everyone. We're going to call this Destin City Council meeting to order. And up first, we have the invocation by our one and only Pastor David Butler from Faith Assembly Christian Church. Thank you for being here.
It's my honor, Mayor. Thank you. Would you bow your heads, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you again that you are the Lord over our city, our community. We just ask your blessings. We ask your guidance, direction. We pray that you would place a hedge of protection about us, and with the season that is upon us regarding hurricanes and foul weather, Lord, we just thank you for being our protector. We ask that you would give us guidance tonight, and we give you the praise for our citizens that are out here and for the city staff, for the council members. We praise you for each one, and we thank them for their service. And now the blessing is this, found in Numbers chapter 6. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he give you his peace. Amen.
Thank you for that. Councilwoman Aber with the pledge.
Please join me with your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I appreciate that. If everyone could do me a favor and turn off your phones or put them on silent, I'm going to do the same. And we'll get this ball rolling. So with that, approval of the agenda, is there any additions, amendments, subtractions? Yes, sir.
All right, I got one addition that went under my name, pending ordinance doctrine for 2-foot freeboard flood zone requirement.
All right. All right, got that under freeboard. All right, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Item 5A on your agenda is regarding a public hearing for the application of for a major deviation to a development order. Mr. Curtis Gwynn and Bob Gill are here tonight asking that be removed from council consideration tonight to be brought back at a later date. So just want to make you aware that that's their request at your pleasure.
All right, thank you. I'd feel it'd be most appropriate. We paid a little bit of taxpayer money to put it on there and just to hear it out. I'm not for or against it, but I think it would behoove us to at least hear them out in the public hearing. But as just, all right, we got some nods going on. All right, with that, anything else? Any other changes? All
I'll
right.
make a motion to approve with the change from John added.
All right.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Seeing no other discussions, we'll call the vote.
Andy.
Everyone's dropped. Okay. Gee. All right. On that budget, maybe we need a new IT system or go back to the other one. I'd say roll call, but we're going to deal with this. Yep. No, I know you're quick. You're a wizard, Andy. All right. Ayes have it. So moved 6-0. And we will move right into the presentations for Captain Fulgham. All right, you're going to break the news?
Yep.
All right.
I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to speak to y'all tonight. As most of y'all know, I got promoted to major. Today's actually my first day as the major, and Captain Smith is promoted to captain and is going to take my position. I just wanted to take the opportunity to let y'all know, I started out here on the Destin contract 19 years ago as a patrolman and worked up with the city all the way to captain, the highest rank that you can be out here in the district. And I just wanted to thank the council and staff for all the cooperation over the years that y'all have given me and all the support that y'all have given me. It's meant a lot to me. I've made lasting friendships that are going to last forever. And I just appreciate that very much. We didn't always agree about everything, but what I appreciated the most is that no member of the staff, no member of the council were ever disrespectful to me, and I hope that I relayed that back to y'all, and that's something, unfortunately, that's in short supply nowadays. So I just wanted to let y'all know how much I appreciated y'all, and also wanted to introduce y'all to Captain Smith, and he'll be taking my role. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, we got a plaque for you, and before we take the photo, I think you're the quickest person to text me back at any time, and that's not a challenge for anyone else. It's just super impressive. But I actually got to know you a little bit more cleaning up the beach with Rotary together, and I thought it was just amazing to hear a little bit of your story, that a local resident can climb literally the ranks all the way up, and to go into the major position. That's a huge accomplishment. So just thank you for loving this community and just being in it, regardless of what rank you were. It sounded like you did everything but have a dog. Yeah, I remember that. That was amazing. So I appreciate that. So no K9, but I appreciate every other position up and down the ladder. And thank you so much for your service and continued service as major now. Absolutely. All right, thank you everyone for allowing us that time to honor an awesome local. And with that, we'll get into the public comments. If anyone wishes to speak, this is your time to do so. I just need your name and address, and I just ask that if it's about anything on 5A or 5B, the public hearings, you'll have an individual time to do that as well. And with that, Ricky, the floor is yours. Just hit that button.
Ricky Lynn Grant Jr., 175 Main Street, Destin, Florida, 32541, USPS General Delivery. And I just, want to say thank you for everything that y'all have done, listening to my story and to my journey. And I hope that it's coming to a close. And my latest thing is social media. With these digital platforms, I've got social media presence out there, and people may know me. People say, "Oh, there's Ricky Lynn Grant Jr." And I don't know what to do with my social media, because I do have a website, www.rickylynngrantjr.com, and I have Dexter from Apex Media, who's going to build it for $1,700, where there could be articles on how to sell your house, how to sell your assets to Ricky Lynn Grant Jr., the cash buyer. I do business to business. And I write a lot of just things on my social media. I'm like an artist on there. I don't think about anything anymore. I just go out there and act. I've reduced my life to a formula. I'm like a scientist. I don't do anything differently. I know what to do because I've lived for 39 years doing this, and I know how to do it. It's just a scientific formula. So when I wake up in the morning, I can just go do my job. I don't have to think. And I just need some help with my social presence online, my digital platforms, my website, and, the branding with going to outer space and stuff, moving to outer space and living in the stars or whatever. I'm looking forward to the fall time, I guess, with the college football and the NFL, and watching the games and just staying in on the action. I don't ever land, I stay in the field. I don't, I'm homeless. I don't have a home. I don't ever go home. I just stay outside. I stay on the move. I don't ever stop. Someone asked me, how do you relax? Well, I go swim. I go swim in the ocean, and after that, I go have a cup of coffee, and then after that, I watch football, and then after that, I work on my social media. I don't ever stop working, and I just hope that who's ever listening can see that I'm, flying, and I'm not really thinking. So, God bless you.
Thank you, sir. All right, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for your time, first and foremost. My name is Justin Goff. I'm at 5 Cross Court. I sent an email last week out to Council and to the City Manager regarding an impact fee for this mobility fee for our home at 5 Cross Court. If I may hand them, just in case you didn't get the email. Our mold report is also in the emails on top, just so you have it for your records. We purchased 5 Cross Court in July of last year. Shortly after my wife returned from having major, I guess, is a stem cell transplant and chemotherapy for a demobilizing disease that she has, and hopes to cure herself of it. We bought this home. It's our homestead, to remodel it and make it our forever home. A few weeks into being in the home, we noticed we were both coughing, and it wouldn't go away. We were told to get have a mold remediation company come in, which they did, and you have the report. Come to find out that the home was 90% overtaken by mold. My plan wasn't to tear the home down. It was to have my family there, remodel it. I'm a builder by trade. Unfortunately, I didn't see that I could any chance of putting my family at risk, my 2 children and my wife, in that home. So we made the ultimate decision to demo it, which places a huge burden of the money that we have to come up with to rebuild a new home. This fee, $11,000 for a mobilization fee to better the city roads. I get it. Things have to be done, but at what point we're already faced with $5,000 of impact fees? I build in Walton County, I build in Okaloosa County. The highest I pay is $1,700 for a building permit for a single-family home. So I'm already getting drilled with much more than any other city around us, and then to have a $11,000 mobility fee tacked onto it. We didn't want to rebuild our home. We were forced to, and now I feel like we have a burden on our back of the city's impact fees to better the city is put on our back when we're just trying to make ourselves whole again. And I come to ask you to please, if there's anything that you can do to help remove this fee from being our burden, find another route for it to be brought to the city if it's needed, that's fine. We already pay enough in taxes. I mean, our ad valorem isn't even included in all those fees that we're paying. So I appreciate your time, and I'd really, if there's any help that this fee could be taken off of us, it'd be a big help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and the City Council. Thanks for listening. My name is Mustafa Akkan, and I'm the owner of Red Onion. I'm also here for the impact fee. So as you may know, Red Onion is a Mediterranean restaurant, and it's a local hub. Our current building was getting old, and we had to move. There is a huge demand from our customers, and our old building wasn't enough for that. So we found a building next door. Landlord also owns the same building, 15 feet away. I received a impact fee, which was huge. I spent most of my money on the renovation and moving and buying equipment for the new place. And we are having difficulties right now. I received a message from the city basically saying that I have to pay an impact fee for change of use. I would like to say that Red Onion will not have a huge impact on the city traffic. We are already also only moving 15 feet away. We have a huge parking space. Our employees and customers are locals. They are part of the Destin traffic. We have a unique kitchen and a possible candidate for a Michelin star. So we've chosen to stay in Destin. We had invitations from different cities. I'm respectfully asking the city council to reconsider my impact fee, and I'm asking for a maximum reduction that city can give us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have awesome Turkish coffee.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Hello, sorry I'm under arrest. Name is Andrew White. I live at 2 Country Club Drive East. My concern is regarding public hearing, 5A. I guess there was a little bit of confusion as to which road it is. I haven't fully read it, but I heard about it on Facebook. You know, great source of information, not the best. But somebody in my neighborhood said it was Indian Trail, not Indian Bayou, but this says Indian Bayou in the document. So if it's the road that connects Indian Bayou to Commons, that little road over by just west of here, if that's the one that I'm thinking of, that'd be awesome because I'd alleviate traffic.
I have to pause you.
Okay.
I can only have those during the public hearing. I'll
Okay.
have public comments for that.
Okay.
It turns into a legal
thing.
when it's a public hearing, so positive or negative, I gotta stop you on that. If
Okay.
you're gonna talk about it, I'll have another time for you at 5A to come back up.
Cool.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right, anything else? All right, seeing, oh, yes, sir. Whoa. Oh, come on.
I'm Wesley Poole, 608 Mountain Drive. Okay, on Beach Street at the temporary connector park, or whatever the nomenclature is, the trucks have parked and completely busted all the concrete up. And somebody, one of the contractors, put a narrow walkway, and the weeds is growing about knee high. And the other day, I saw a city truck measuring the grass. And y'all ain't got to measure, y'all just, as they say, clean up your own backyard. But at the connector park, for lack of a better name, we have some invasive trees, the cherry laurels. I hope y'all aren't going to leave them. It looks like everything's going around them, like we're going to leave them. And we need to cut them, and it takes money. And a lot of cherry laurel and popcorn trees and even China berry trees at Whataburger. Emmanuel Anglican Church cut their popcorns, and they left the longleaf pines. If you want to see something sprouted out quickly, just go over to Emmanuel Church. The Catholic Church and the Baptist Church on Beach Street has big invasive species of trees. But I passed out a herbicide come from the Daily News, and I'll summarize, and it looks like you cannot sue the EPA. I mean, is the city going to get sued, or is the various landscaping companies going to get sued? But I do like y'all's clocks, and encouraging citizens to speak is a good idea. Did y'all decide on an AI facility? Or have we chickened completely out? Or put it another way, chickened out completely. Is that good grammar or? I'm sorry, that was too much. Oh, I'm offended. I'm not offended. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Poole. All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public comments and we'll get into the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve as is.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussions, we'll call the vote. Thank you, David. All right, ayes have it unanimously so moved, and we'll get into the city manager's report. Dr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Item 4A is regarding the miscellaneous continuing services electrical contract. We went out for proposals because it was time to renew that agreement or to award a new agreement. We had two proposals, D&D Air Conditioning, Heating, and Electrical Service and Gulf Coast Electric. The bid committee reviewed those and found that D&D was the most responsible bidder with a score of 109 points compared to 101 for Gulf Coast Electric. They are our incumbent, and we have had satisfactory service with them, so we recommend that we execute an agreement with them for a 3-year term with two 1-year options at the end of those 3 years.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilwoman Trammell.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make the motion. I move that the city manager be authorized to execute a 3-year contract with D&D Air Conditioning, Heating, and Electrical Services for electrical services through December 2029.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussions?
Mr. Mayor, I would just offer that, just keep in mind that any service under that contract that's in excess of $35,000 would come back to council for further approval.
All right, thank you for that. All right, seeing no further discussions, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it so moved. Back to you.
Thank you. 4B is regarding the Florida Department of Transportation Joint Participation Agreement for the US 98 median improvements. This is for the concrete curbing component of that. Ribbon curbing, if you'll recall, 2 or 3 meetings ago, we approved a $600,000 award from the DOT to work on the landscaping and maintenance of that landscaping. A couple of meetings ago, we approved abandoning a irrigation well and replacing it with reclaimed water from DWU. So that's the same pot of money. And this is for $321,375 for about a little over 10,000 linear feet of ribbon curbing. And our continuing service contractor would provide those services upon your award.
All right, with that, do I hear a motion? All right, Councilmember Stevens.
I move to approve the request for Hayes Construction Company to construct the curbing in accordance with the FDOT previously approved plans and authorize the city manager to execute a purchase order for the estimated amount of $321,375 to construct the curbing and request reimbursement from FDOT upon completion of the work.
All right, thank you for that motion. And I have Councilwoman Aber.
Second.
All right, any discussions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, so moved. Dr. Jones.
Thank you. Item 4C is regarding the update of Ordinance 359, which is our post-disaster redevelopment plan. Seeking your package says direction of legislative sponsor, but during our briefings, Commissioner Trammell agreed to be the legislative sponsor. So what we're asking is for direction to move some revisions to the ordinance. It was adopted in November of 2000 and appears to not have been amended since, but there have been significant changes in state law, in emergency management practices, Florida Building Code, the National Flood Insurance Program, FEMA guidance, as well as cities comp plan and land development code. So we think it's ripe to be amended and bring the appropriate updates in due time. So we're not asking for you to approve anything other tonight other than giving us the go-ahead to bring you back a revised ordinance to capture the latest and greatest details from all those agencies.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Councilwoman Trammell.
I'll move to authorize the staff to proceed with the formal legislative process for updating ordinance number 359.
Second.
All right, motion and second. My only just quick comment was when we were at the annual conference, that was one of the big talks, and we had the FEMA and we had a lot of state directors. So I think it's very, very timely. So thank you guys for that. All right, with that, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, so moved unanimously. Right back
Thank
to
you. Item 4D is regarding the FEMA preliminary flood insurance study, the flood insurance rate maps, and the summary of map actions. This is for information only. We have recently received the latest maps from FEMA. On July 31st, we got those. The purpose of this preliminary period is to give the city, you as the elected officials, the residents, property owners, and any other interested parties an opportunity to review the proposed flood hazard information and provide comments before the maps become effective. So these maps are preliminary. They do not replace the city's currently effective flood insurance maps, and our existing maps and floodplain regulations will continue to govern until the FEMA completes this process and establishes an effective date for the revised maps. So again, this is for information only, to get it before you guys for your eyes. We'll get it for the public and our constituents so that anyone that has any issues or comments, we would certainly entertain those before this moves into a final adoption.
Any discussions? All right, seeing none.
Very good. Item 4E is regarding the a 10-ton AC replacement for the library. We had anticipated replacing this unit in the coming budget year. However, it is dying quicker than we anticipated. So this is a $38,952 replacement. And as mentioned in the budget briefing, due to the new refrigerant that's required to be in the condensing units, we have to replace the air handlers as well because of some of the pressure changes and things that I don't know a whole lot about, other than that's what I was told. So I'm sure it's accurate, and I do know they did change the refrigerant, so it is going to be a little more costly as we move these projects forward. So this one, again, was budgeted in next year's budget, but we're going to roll it forward and advance it to this year so we can keep the library cool with your approval.
All right, thank you, sir. With that, Councilwoman Trammell.
I move that the city manager be authorized to execute a task order with D&D Air Conditioning, Heating, and Electrical Services for replacement of the 10-ton unit for the cost of $38,952.
Second.
All right,
I
motion.
must keep the mold out of the library.
Exactly. All right, I do have Councilman Destin.
Just one question. It's failing. Do we have a maintenance log on that? What does it mean it's failing?
Michael, can you give us a...
Sure. We have the D&D, who you just reauthorized to be our electrical, also as our mechanical continuing services provider. We had them go out and do an assessment on all the units at the library, and this one is showing its age and not very well. So we decided to go ahead and replace that before it failed. That was kind of the premise of the renewal and replacement program, is to replace things prior to them failing, especially in the heat right now.
Well, I understand that's the object replacement. I just want to make sure we don't just replace things because they've reached the year.
Correct. This is based on performance and the assessment that they've looked that it is in failing mode in short order.
So it's been failing?
It's failing.
And do we keep maintenance logs on any of this equipment?
Yeah, I'll check into that, and I'll get with the city manager in the morning. He can forward that along.
I'd love to see it.
Okay?
Yep, thank you for that. All right, with that, I have no further discussions. We've got a motion and a second, so we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, so moved. Moving right along.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is the update on the Holiday Isle state-owned land. As you know, you all passed on August 3rd a resolution 2621 commencing the dispute resolution procedures to resolve the disputes with Okaloosa County. The first meeting pursuant to state law and that resolution will be held this Wednesday at 1 p.m. at the Fort Walton Beach Convention Center. That is August 19th. Under the resolution, a second meeting will have to be held. We're working on that date with the county, and I have a few dates to just let you know about that the county intends to discuss at their BCC meeting tomorrow. But just to remind you, the first meeting on this Wednesday, the 19th, is to be run by the city manager and county administrator. The second meeting, which is the one we're talking about scheduling, will be between the full governing bodies of the county and the city, so it would be the city council and the BCC. So the dates they are looking at are currently September 2nd, 3rd, 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th. I would suggest we probably shouldn't do the 8th since you do have council meeting that night. But other than that, if you all have any other restrictions on the date, you can let us know now. Otherwise, we'll just let the county choose from those dates.
All right, Councilwoman Neighbor?
Quick question. So this Wednesday at 1300 or 1 p.m. over at the Convention Center, you're saying that that's, we on the council can be there, but the conversation is going to be between...
Yeah, so you are all invited. It is a public meeting. There will be opportunities for public input. It is noticed for 2 or more elected officials to attend from both the city and the county. But as far as the decision-making that night, there wouldn't be a final decision, but there will be discussion of the issues by administration.
And am I correct in that it is to be held in Palm Room 1 and 2, not the Convention Center, therefore it's a smaller venue?
Those rooms are at the Convention Center, but yes, those are the rooms, and that's because there's, I believe, HVAC work being done in the main room.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have anything to add, Dr. Jones?
No, ma'am. Covered it well. Thank you.
You can just bet it on an arm wrestling match and just be done with this.
Does anybody have any objections to any of the dates besides the 8th? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Jones.
Item 4G is regarding the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance and the estuary program. The CBA is taking on some additional roles and working with the estuaries that feed into the Choctawhatchee Bay. That's been kind of a separate entity that is now being rolled under the umbrella of CBA. And they are asking that we have a primary and a secondary designated member to represent on the steering committee or steering council for the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance Estuary Program. I don't know if Allison was here. There she is, yes. If she has any comments, if you...
I can't nominate anyone, but I think Stevens is duly qualified.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we're excited to work with you guys in this new way. Again, Allison McDowell, Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance Estuary Program. It'll be our new title in a day or so, and so we're looking forward to kind of doing all the things that we've always done, but also being an additional connector for the wider watershed.
Councilwoman Neighbor.
So I'd like to nominate John Stevens as the primary and Sandy Trammell as the secondary.
We accept both of those.
Are you guys okay with that?
They're waving their hand.
No, okay, no. All right, good deal. Yeah, other than that, I've seen the Naples Estuary Program, and it looks like they are very successful. So hopefully this comes with more opportunities, grants, fundings, and good projects coming your way. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I got a motion. Second?
Dewey second.
Dewey second, thank you. And seeing no further discussions, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, so moved, 6-0. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council. Next item is 4H is regarding the intersection at Benning Drive and Valtizo Street. This matter came before the Public Works Public Safety Committee at their meeting last week, and they are unanimously recommending installing a all-way stop as a immediate safety measure while staff continues monitoring traffic, sidewalks, and crosswalk locations. And staff concurs with this recommendation, but only as an interim step to address the situation in short order. There's some things that we're working with the school board that looked like some of the things that were designed and we anticipated being done were done a little different. So our engineering staff is working with their staff to hopefully get those corrected. So we would ask that you approve this always stop simply as a intermediate step that we can begin managing the traffic, but it may be something we come back and ask for it permanently, or we may be able to design some things with our staff and the school board staff that would not require it. But there's some crosswalks, some other design things that need to be addressed, and we'll bring that back to you at another time. Along those lines, you did approve the rapid flashing beacons for that intersection a few meetings back, but some of the design work that's been done or what's been implemented, contrary to maybe the way some of it was designed, has prohibited that from being effective. So we still have those in stock, ready to put at the appropriate time, but we think that the intermediate step of the four-way always stop would be the most appropriate to get the kids safe until we get it all worked out.
Awesome. All right, Councilwoman Trammell.
It's Maltezos Street. No, I just wanted, I do have some concerns about it being so close to the four-way stop at Benning and Kelly. I'm not sure it's going to be adhered to as well since they're so close together, so I'm hoping you can find another alternative. The other thing is, when you cross the street, unless they've built it in the last few days, there's not a sidewalk that goes down that road to that part of the school. So they're going to have to come and then come down to down to Kelly, and then go into the school to stay on the sidewalk. So when you're working with the school, if we're going to do that and go to all the trouble to do that, let's make sure there's a sidewalk going down that new path to get into the new portion of the school.
Yeah, okay.
It's a bus route.
Got
And I agree. The kids have been walking there for years already. Thank you.
I'll move the recommended motion.
All right.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. My only discussion is something needs to be done. I think the four-way as an interim is great. I would love to see perhaps what I've always been preaching of a road design that gets to the same end goal in mind. So I like where this is going, so thank you guys. All right, anyone else? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, 6-0, so moved. Right.
Item 4I is regarding the mobility plan update. We were asked at the last meeting to bring this item back. So first and foremost, Pine Street has been removed from the mobility plan, so that's been done. As part of that, if you recall, there was some change that need to be made to the language in the comprehensive plan, where it specifically called out the date the mobility plan was approved. So what we're recommending that as we make that change, that we expand that to language that would reflect the mobility plan as amended and changed, and Tina's got the sweet language because I can't remember it.
As may be amended from time to time.
There you go. As may be amended from time to time. So that will keep any future amendment to the mobility plan from having to be reflected in the comprehensive plan. And along those lines, that gives, once that language is there, any change you wish to make to the mobility plan as far as what projects are there, you certainly can. And only the 7 that we presented to you at the last meeting, of which the mobility fee was used to calculate the fees, as long as those are not taken out of the plan, we don't see a need to revisit the mobility fees or rework the study that established the fees. So it kind of allows you to make changes to it as we move forward. If there's any you've reviewed that you want to suggest that we address in short order, we can do that. If you want to agenda it for a later date, we can certainly do that. Or at any time as we move forward, that there's an item or a street that you want to change, remove, we can address them at those times.
Councilwoman Aber?
I'm not really sure if this is the appropriate time to ask this, but with the mobility fee, like the gentleman, Mr. Goff, was saying that they're being assessed a $15,000 mobility fee, is that because the house size that they demolished is now being doubled in size to the rebuild? Is that how that's assessed? Or
Tina, can you
That
give
is correct. The house that's being built is bigger than the previous house, and the fee that's applicable is the 4,000 square foot or more fee, which is $10,789.
And what about like the movement of the Red Onion to the next door? That doubled in size as well? Is that why their fee went up?
Change of use.
Theirs is a change of use from a retail use to a restaurant use.
Because they had to install like kitchens into the new building?
Yes, there are renovations involved with it also.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councilman Dustin?
I want to comment, Mayor, that we need to do some pretty tremendous fixing of this mobility fee. One of the options that's not mentioned is the amount of the fee is based on what it would cost to do those roads, and that was part of the study. But that is the maximum amount of fee. We can lower it any amount we want and stretch it out as far as construction. There are a lot of options there to lower it, reduce it. That might be the simple way to go. I see that we have another agenda item that is going to discuss it. So we'll get to that, but, you know, to my mind, the really onerous part of this is that the fee is just dramatically too high. Mr. Goff's home, if he hadn't gotten credit on his previous house, it would be a whole lot more. Whether or not the Red Onion is a change of use, I'm looking forward to having that discussion with staff on the next item, I suppose. So this, you know, there are a number of problems here, but the simple fix is just the fee's too high. And we can certainly look at the solutions that are in the next agenda item, and we should. But we need to come to some conclusion about this fee because it is dramatically impacting people's ability to build in Destin, whether it be a business or a home.
No, agreed. And to your point, bringing it back on to essentially the map or the plan, is there any further discussion? Councilman Morgan?
Mine
Yeah,
was,
we'll go to-
since we
go to
got
Jay.
into the discussion of Mr. Goff, but I will wait till the next agenda item.
All right, good deal, thank you. Councilwoman Trammell?
Well, just, this particular item is to move to have a special meeting date to discuss all of this. So if we move to have a special meeting date, I think all of this should be put on hold with these two applicants that have come up until we do something about that. So you're
No,
asking for a
I'm-
motion tonight to have a special meeting date to reprioritize all of this and to discuss all this. So is there any way that we can, I guess, put on hold what they're asking?
Well, no, two topics there. Yeah, I think this is
So,
the plan of projects versus the other one that we're all, seem to be nodding our head as far as overbearing would be the engine, or AKA where the money's coming from.
Is that not
So,
a project?
I think what they're asking here is the project priorities, whether it's $1 or $10, where would you like those dollars to go to first? So staff, unlike when we pulled out Pine Street, to the data alluded to Pine Street being a very good low-hanging fruit until we heard from our local constituents. So I think this idea is, all right, instead of having guests or staff guess and waste time on projects that look good on paper, perhaps we as the elected body tell them where we should start looking at projects, whether we have the funding or not. That would be the second conversation. So with that, I mean, do you have a date
I'll
in
make
mind?
No, I don't.
Fair.
The
I don't
second,
either.
the second meeting in September, since we have something else coming up on the first meeting in September?
Okay.
Is that-
If it's council's desire to have a meeting to address the projects in the mobility plan, at your discretion whenever you'd like to have that, or you can do them as they become relevant. But if you want to take a holistic look at it, a special meeting or an agenda meeting, a time on a meeting would be appropriate.
Personally, I'd rather take a holistic approach to that. It doesn't look like we're piecemealing for special interests by doing it one at a time. So if we do it in general, is the second meeting in September okay with everybody? I guess I'm,
That works for me, yeah.
what? Are you talking about an
I think-
additional
I think
meeting
we're-
other than a council
I think
meeting?
we're talking about a separate date because of the time involved, but,
Okay.
because there's potentially some major things on the 21st that we're waiting to hear back on, including potentially Phase 2 of Harbor Walk Village, so we might not want to put too many major items on that second meeting. So if you just want to ask for the special meeting, we can come back to you with dates or get it scheduled and let you know.
Okay, well then I'll move that the special meeting date be set to reprioritize the mobility plan and bring it back to us.
All right,
Second.
like it, good motion. All right, anything else, Councilman Destin?
Just so I'm sure staff's going to recommend a time for us, correct?
Correct.
And our next item, the ordinance, that does not affect our consideration of that, does it?
It does not. They're two separate items, but we can talk about what you want to do about the next item.
Okay.
Are you all ready to move on to that one?
After I call the motion.
Okay.
All right, got a motion. Did I hear a second? Yeah, thank you, Councilman Stevens. All right, then we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it 6-0, and we'll get to the main event.
Okay, so this item is, the city has been receiving requests to waive mobility fees. They can be, when someone's trying to redevelop, they can be cumbersome because we have raised them significantly based on the study that was performed by our consultants and under the statute. But the code does not provide a process for the waivers that have been requested, and so council is limited in the current code by what they can do. So at a prior meeting, you all had directed that some changes be made to the mobility fee ordinance. Staff had prepared that ordinance and taken it to the LPA, and LPA had recommended approval. So the ordinance is certainly pending. However, we are currently considering changes to the ordinance in part because the LDC rewrite has been pushed up a couple of months, which means we had to change the title and reorganize, and we're taking into account the effect on the CRAs of the increased mobility fees and wanting to bring council some options. So with that, what we're asking for here is to invoke the pending ordinance doctrine, which would mean we would be able to grant waivers as appropriate while the ordinance is pending. The staff report lays out some of the things that staff is evaluating currently, but just for the public's benefit, some of that includes evaluating potential criteria for determining whether a proposed project provides a sufficient public benefit to warrant consideration of a fee reduction or waiver. Potential criteria might include the redevelopment of previously vacant or underutilized property, elimination or mitigation of blight, increases in taxable property value, increases in economic activity or productivity, and the elimination or correction of existing nonconformities. If you choose to make the recommended motion on this and invoke the pending ordinance doctrine under Smith v. City of Clearwater, you will be able to consider waivers. If not, you should hold off on waivers at this time. And to Councilmember Destin's point and some of the others, there are other options as well. I think this needs to be in place if you want to consider waivers tonight. But additionally, if there's issues with the mobility fees, you all can consider a blanket reduction in the fees. If you wanted to go beyond that with anything more specific, you might want to reconsider having an updated study done. So those are just some options.
Your words are very impressive, crafting them together. I appreciate the box you're putting them in. That sounds very good. I will get Councilwoman Hebert with the motion, and then I'll go discussion. She beat you to it with the motion.
I'm going to make the motion that Ms. Comp just clearly spelled it all out of what we want to do is have the opportunity to make those waivers.
All right, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All right, with a motion and a second, I have Councilmember Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so, you know, I jumped into the mobility fee and started seeing the complaints that we were getting. And I agree with Ms. Kopp tonight to go ahead and pass this so we can start granting waivers. But this whole process and fee schedule is deeply, deeply bad. In some ways, it's fine because we are taxing uses that we don't view as good for the city, that take a lot of resources and don't give back, whether it's apartment buildings, short-term rentals, large supermarkets.
Car washes.
But car washes isn't on the fee schedule that y'all passed back in September. And so there's like 26 uses on the fee schedule. There's no, and I'm going to make a substitute motion to include some things, but there's no process in which, for example, when y'all dealt with AMVETS a few months ago, y'all had to classify them as a church, which is kind of funny because it's a bar, right? But they had a small Christian mission in there. But most municipalities, when they pass a mobility fee, they include in their language the next closest zoning use that staff determines. We don't have that in our ordinance. That needs to be fixed. I do think they are working on that. But, you know, we don't have pharmacies, bars, car washes, RV campgrounds, fitness centers, or gyms. We've got something on Main Street that is like a batting cage facility that was assessed a fee, but they're a gym. So that doesn't apply. I think that leaves the door open to litigation if somebody wanted to sue us. It's not on great footing. Boat sales, storage facilities, there's lots of uses that weren't covered. I think it was a bad ordinance in the first place, but just to put it in perspective, so the company that did the study recommended anywhere from 95 to 90% reduction in long-term residential. And I think everyone up here can agree that Mr. Goff is already paying $5,000 in permitting fees, which is high. But on top of that, he's being assessed a $10,000, $11,000 fee just to build the house. So that's $15,000 in the hole before he starts. So the city's already getting $5,000 just on permitting and flood zone review and things like that. So we don't need to be taxing people. There's other issues in it, like we're taxing marinas. Well, we're already taxing them 20 or 25% of the total cost to build them in the harbor district. And so that needs to be excluded. We don't need to charge an impact fee on marinas, then charge 25% in the harbor area, and then tax them on ad valorem that year. I don't think the intent of this council was to tax people 3 times in 1 year. We need to add language for de minimis impacts. Whereas Red Onion, he is picking up his business and moving it 100 feet to the east. He's not creating any extra mobility problems, and if he's got to go to a larger location, good for him. We should celebrate a small business growing in this community, not penalizing him with fees. And so I think if a business is picking up like AMVETS did, and I would love for us to refund their fees, but which Rodney made a motion to charge them $1, and then y'all ended up charging, I think, $14,000. But you know, AMVETS moved from one location to another. They're not creating any extra impact. They're just transferring it from one property to another. So I would like to see the de minimis impact language put in there. We've got to figure out what to do with the harbor district so we're not taxing them twice when they're building new docks. And then just for context with the restaurants, and I'm a restaurant guy, but this affects all restaurants in Destin. If I were to rebuild La Paz and Local Market today, 10,000 square feet, I would owe the city $660,000 in a fee before I can even swing a hammer. I don't, that's not right. So we've got to figure that out. You know, and if we can't, the company we paid to do the study recommended several uses. Churches, we're charging churches an impact fee. I don't think that's right. But we're recommend reducing them 25%, and the only people who got greater reductions than like restaurants, churches, and some other not terrible uses were long-term residential, which were recommended at a 95 to 90% reduction depending on the square footage. But we didn't adopt any of the discounts, maybe a slight discount on the long-term residential. So I would like to, if this mobility fee stands, which I don't like, I would like to see us do the full discounts that they allowed. But it's just a bad ordinance, and if we can't reduce some of these good uses more than what the study says, I think we need a new study. Because I think, you know, if that study was implemented, that's still $480,000 to rebuild my restaurant. You know, it's a lot of money. So I think it discourages good development and bad development, but I do think that we can leave the full fees in place for fast food restaurants and convenience stores. Okay, we don't need those. It's a way to discourage development we don't want to see in town. So I'd support that. I'm not sure exactly what the motion, I would just make a substitute motion to everything that Ms. Hebert said, but remove the 75% reduction amount that we're allowed to waive and just take leave it open-ended so we can waive as much as we want. I would add the language for de minimis impact, and I would go ahead and implement the full discounted amounts that the study originally mentioned, and then bring that back to us, and then maybe we can have a discussion on whether or not we want to scrap this altogether. And
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. And just to put it into perspective on how sort of absurd, it wasn't the intent of the council, I know it wasn't, but how absurd some of this stuff is. Red Onion is being charged a higher impact fee than Sea Glass Apartments was behind the old Sockeyes, which was like $70,000. So we're saying this small, wonderful restaurant is being charged more than 400 apartment units. You know, it's bad, so.
All right, I have a substitute motion on the floor. Any discussion? Councilman Dustin?
I support the substitute motion. I understand where Mr. Morgan is coming, and I'm willing to discuss any options to make this either better or go away. But I caution all of us to stay away from getting into the business of picking winners and losers, which is essentially when we get too into the weeds with this is what we're going to do. You know, I'm a simple guy and I like a simple solution and just either reduce it dramatically or get rid of it. But I will support the motion so that we can go forward and consider a reduction for the folks that are with us tonight, and to go forward when they pick a time for us to look at this thing and see what the best solution is.
Yep, well said. Councilwoman Hebert?
Thanks, Mayor. I agree with Dewey, and I definitely will support the motion that Chatham made, because I think we meant well when we took what the survey did for us, but ultimately we don't want to penalize our building a brand new home in the city. Is going to be great, and the restaurant's fantastic. Moving next door didn't impact anything, so I agree with the motion and I agree with this.
Just to be clear for the record, though, so that the public knows, Councilmember Morgan's motion did include the pending ordinance, and then the additional information was added to it.
And it is essentially raising the red flag, as we used to call this in the good old days, so that we can go forward with the modifications tonight.
Perfect. Yep. All right, with that, we'll call the vote. All right, good deal. All right, ayes have it. So moved, 6-0. All right.
So 4K, based on your action you just took, is certainly right for your consideration, and that's the request from the Red Onion to reduce their mobility fees. You heard the owner share his thoughts and why that should be something you would consider. So that's before you for whatever action you would think appropriate.
All right, Councilmember Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the reduction in mobility fees for the Red Onion project pursuant to the pending ordinance doctrine for good cause shown such that Red Onion pays a total amount of $0 in mobility fees.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of the motion.
Council.
He pays zero.
We're reducing it to zero. And, you know, that is appropriate. Of course, the other question in my mind is, how did we get here? Change of use. Where they're moving to was an ice cream parlor and then was a restaurant after that. Both of those businesses were licensed by the state of Florida under the Division of Hotels and Restaurants. They're certainly not hotels. So obviously the state of Florida considered them restaurants. How is it that we decided that it was a change of use?
Tina?
I'll ask.
The last approved development order on the property had this area, this portion of the building as just retail.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
That portion of the building was listed as retail.
And there's a difference between retail and they were selling ice cream and they had tables. And when the food place took over, they were selling food to go and they had tables. So is there a percentage there where it's a matter of to go versus table in? Is that in the ordinance somewhere?
By the existing development order.
Correct. There was not a development order that was done to change the use at that time, to change it to a restaurant.
It was not done right.
Yeah, so.
So he should pay nothing.
Yeah, well, it's just, it appears we use change ordinance as a club to make sure that people have to pay these fees and these permits, and we need to examine that. I mean, what's the difference in selling ice cream or whatever food the others were selling and selling food that the Red Onion says? In my mind, it's food sales.
You're right, but to your point, the development order previously allowed for things other than food sales. So they were changing the use, removing that and coming to pure food sales. But to your point, yes, we are going to be making those changes and bringing them back to you for
We need
consideration.
to, and so they remove some of the uses, and so we penalize them for removing some of the uses and going straight to food sales. Come on, folks, let's use a
They
little
consider
rational
food sales
common
as
sense
more
here.
intense than
Yeah,
than
we
retail.
need to examine change of use.
Yeah.
Pretty
And-
dramatically, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you, and I would say we, as you rightfully remind us, we are the policy makers, so we wrote bad policy for them to follow. And we'd be yelling at them more if they weren't following our policy, so it's on us to do the right thing, and it looks like we're going that way. So any further discussions on the motion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, and then Councilmember Morgan, you had something else?
Yeah, I would just like to piggyback on this while we're doing it, and I would move to approve the reduction in mobility fees for 5 Cross Court pursuant to the pending ordinance doctrine for good cause shown such that the Red Onion, that 5 Cross Court pays a total amount of $0 in mobility.
Second.
Awesome. Got a motion, second. Any further discussions? All right, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, so moved unanimously, 6-0.
Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. All right, moving right along.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next items are for informational only. Your standard monthly reports from the project status, financial, and the TDC. Then 4O are minutes from standing boards and committees, again for information only, no action needed. Dr. Tay, any announcements?
Good evening. I do have just a few announcements. Voting for the primary election takes place tomorrow in Destin. If you're precinct 20, it'll be at the Destin Community Center. Precincts 35 and 44 are at the Destin United Methodist Church, and precincts 49 and 50 are at the Destin City Hall boardroom. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. at each site. And then general elections are, of course, November 3rd. Bathrooms at Clement Taylor Park are due to be delivered on September 10th. We do still have more work to be done after that, but we wanted to mention the progress. And then a vertical oyster garden event. We did one before. The city collaborated with CBA, and it went over well. We'll have our second one to do on Saturday, September 12th from 1 to 2 p.m. at Captain Royal Melvin Heritage Park. And lastly, Labor Day is Monday, September 7th, and city offices will be closed that day. So instead of our council meeting that night, our next council meeting will be Tuesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. And I believe the city attorney has something to add to that.
Thanks, Dr. Young. Yes, council, I would like to call for an executive session on Tuesday, September 8th at 5:30 p.m. in the matter of Daisy Centeno versus Key Destin owner LLC et al., including the city of Destin, to discuss matters as allowed by the statute, including litigation strategy and potential settlement. Present would be all of you, the mayor, myself, the city manager, and our litigation counsel, Bill Warner. Does anyone object to 5:30 p.m. on the 8th? No. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. All right, is that all the announcements? All right, good deal. All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Kopp, public hearings?
Yes, this is a public hearing regarding the application for a major deviation, PZ 2026-66, to a major development order. And I'm going to turn it over to, I believe, Mr. Butler to introduce, or Ms. Dieter, the Community Development Director, and we will let them decide who's going to start.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Jesse. Mr. Hernandez.
Councilman Destin? Yeah, hold.
Got a question. The applicants are here, it's my understanding, to withdraw.
The staff was going to explain the application, and then we were going to let the applicant make their request.
Okay, and.
So that you know what you're
Well,
hearing.
Just let me get finished. It says public hearing. Are we planning on going forward with a public hearing on this issue?
Yes, it's been advertised for a public hearing, but if you could just let staff do the introduction and explain, we will answer all of these questions. Just give them about maybe 5 minutes, and then we will have the applicant.
With all due respect, Ms. Kopp? Yes. The question about whether we're going forward or not.
It would make sense to me to go ahead. We would like to go ahead and remove to have this.
I just wanted staff to explain the application.
I understand what you want.
Take it off the agenda for right now.
All right, so hello.
And I'll let them, if you want to go forward with that application, but
I need Button, he's going to be, hold up. We normally have a procedure on this, so.
We have a quasi-judicial hearing, and we have a code that requires a process. So if staff could just give a quick introduction, we'll turn it over to the applicant for their request.
Absolutely. Due South Management Company, on behalf of Indian Bayou West LLC, is requesting a major deviation to a major development order. The applicant is requesting a scope of work modification to remove the proposed connector road Old Creek Trail from the approved site plan provided in the previously approved development orders and amendments. In 2023, the applicant was approved for a simple deviation. That deviation reduced the subdivision from 86 lots to 45 lots. The 86 lot configuration approved in DO 2316 included a reconfigured axis with ingress and egress provided through Indian Bayou Trail. However, this deviation and another subsequent deviation still included the connector road. The applicant is now asserting that Old Creek Trail was left in the plans for the 45 lot configuration in error. The applicant maintains that the intent of Old Creek Trail was to provide a primary ingress and egress to the former 86 lot configuration. Because the 45 lot configuration was designed to not utilize Old Creek Trail for egress or ingress, the applicant is requesting that City Council grant approval for the major deviation to eliminate the applicant's obligation to construct Old Creek Trail. Old Creek Trail is located at northeast of the intersection of Airport Road and Commons Drive West, adjacent to the western boundary of the City of Destin Public Works facility on the property owned by Indian Bayou Country Club, located at 1 Country Club Drive East, and encompasses approximately more or less than 1.77 acres of the overall Indian Bayou West development. During technical review, concerns were raised involving continued access to the DWU reclaimed water storage facility and the completion of the ADA accessible sidewalk network. DWU agreed to a condition for the reclaimed water facility And in that development order, that stated that if Old Creek Trail is not constructed, DWU will be responsible for establishing a paved access way from the existing city right-of-way on Indian Bayou Trail to the property. DWU will also be responsible for any necessary sidewalk modifications, truncated dome mats, paving, marking, signage, or any other improvements required to ensure public safety and complete accessible pedestrian access. Additionally, the city engineer provided comments opposing the removal of Old Creek Trail, citing its potential impact on connectivity and emergency services response time. The engineering department's comments in opposition are included as an Exhibit O of this report. Based on staff findings, the requested major deviation is not consistent with the intent of the approved development order and will negatively impact public access, safety, and infrastructure. This concludes staff's comments. Recommended and alternative motions have been provided in the staff report. Staff is prepared to answer any questions council may have, and the applicant, Mr. Curtis Gwynn, is here as well to provide any insight and answers to any additional questions.
Did the applicant wish to respond? Yeah.
All right, just hit that gray button on the front there, on the speaker itself.
Okay, Robert McGill, and I'm here representing the applicant, Indian Bayou West. First, I'd like to go ahead and once again reiterate our request to postpone this or take it off the agenda, or at least table this to a date certain. You know, from our standpoint, we were told, all we ever heard from the city was this was approved at the TRC level. And in fact, in your packet, you've got a memorandum. I don't know when it was prepared, but it's dated August 17th. It says, proposed project approved by TRC on June 2nd, 2026. We didn't see until you came out with your packet, proposed packet for this meeting, the engineer's report, Robert Tomsek's report that he was recommending against it. First time we've ever seen it. As soon as we saw that, we called the city manager's office and we requested that this, be removed from the agenda and give us time to prepare for it. So that's what we're doing right now, is that we would ask that you either table it. I don't think there's a whole lot of people here that are here for this meeting. I think if you tabled it, if there's any publication cost or whatever, you don't have to go through those again. So we're asking that, based on the fact that all we ever got was the TRC report back in June. It said everything is fine and we've approved it. And then there was something put in the package from Mr. Tomsek that has an August 7th date on it. So the first time we ever noticed or saw anything was when we took a look at the package information that I think was published Thursday night. So I don't think it's a hardship on anyone to allow us to have a little more time to prepare for this. And we just ask that you either table it or take it off the agenda until we request that it be put back on.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, with this being a public hearing, at this time, if anyone wishes to speak on this topic, this is your time to do so. Yeah, hit.
Oh, touch it like that.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Good evening, Mayor, everybody. Good to be here. Thank you for being here. So my name is Andrew White. I live at 2 Country Club Drive East. Surprisingly, right next door to the 1 Country Club Drive lot that's right there. The one that's filled with trees and weeds and who knows what else is in there. So if I'm reading this right, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is the old road that's almost directly to our west. Okay, perfect. I think that would be awesome if we could clear that out, because that would alleviate traffic, not just for the people in Indian Bayou currently, but also west as well, because everybody's coming in, and there's only one way in and out. It's the roundabout right there, which works now, but what's gonna happen later on with more development, everything else like that. But it would make it easier for us residents to leave going out towards the west, towards Target, everybody else out there. So I think it would be awesome to have that, especially if it's made pretty. It's done nicely, because right now it doesn't. It's old. Nobody really uses it except for the sheriff and other people. So I think it'd be great if we could continue to do that. I'm not sure what is going to happen to One Country Club Drive East. I'm very curious as to what will happen there. But I look forward to seeing what happens in the future.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for sticking around. All right, anyone else? All right, good deal. We'll close the public comments. Robert, did you have anything to respond to them on, or do we want to go to council?
So my memo was dated August the 7th. So it's always been engineering's position that this road should be built. And my position on any connectivity type situations, I'm always going to always recommend that the connectivity issues always get dealt with. It was not in the TRC comments because that is looking at code issues, but our position has never changed. In fact, engineering is the one that brought up the fact that the road was not built when they were ready to finish out the permit, because the infrastructure permit has that road in the permit. So that's, and y'all have any questions?
All right, thank you, sir. All right, with that, Councilman Braden? Oh, Councilman Dewey? I had you from the first time. I never took you off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Braden?
Thanks. Barbara, has that always been an ingress, egress?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
That road, I thought originally it was just going to be an exit, just a right turn only.
It is listed as a right turn, right in, right out road.
So it's right in and right out. Okay. Is there going to be, if you figured if there's going to be any impact when traffic backs up, like it always does on Commons, if everybody's going to be running this road now, trying to get around, get to that light, and back this road up as well? Has that been taken into consideration?
Well, I was not part of the original decision-making in approving this roadway and then approving the neighborhood and everything. This was all done before I got here. So, yes, there may be a time or two when traffic may back down that road, but I don't believe it'll ever be an issue. Because right now, those same cars are having to go all the way around, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. Just hit that button again.
I wonder if I can respond to that real quick. One, Mr. Tomczak did say that his comments were never made part of the TRC comments or minutes that we've ever been privy to. So once again, on the motion or the request to table this, I would think, as a matter of fairness, this is the first time we've seen anything starting last Thursday. Second, just about every day, as we all know, traffic backs up on Commons Drive. So that, Mr. Braden's absolutely right, that it's just a right in, right out, and, you know, you're going to hit traffic every day on Commons Drive doing that. But
So I got a question. I've been out of town, so I have, I think, a nice perspective of, I'm coming into this just completely curiosity.
Right.
I really have no agenda. I wish you guys the best. I wish this community the best. The development order was for the road, and now you guys want to do away with it. How did you guys come up with that of wanting to amend the DO?
you know, I've got Mr. Gwynn and Mr. Lee is here representing Indian Bayou Properties, so I can let them address that
Yeah, 'cause
for
I
you
just
as much
wanna
as anything,
know-
but.
Let's
you know.
build this community together. I want to know, like, let's do this.
It's on.
Oh, it's already on. Hit it again.
Touch it again.
Yeah, just need your name and address just for the public record, sir.
I'm Bob Lee. I live in Mary Esther, Florida.
I've been a managing partner at Indian Bayou since 1978, along with Mr. Clary. Mr. Clary's been gone 26 years, if y'all can believe it. I can't believe it. I'm also an attorney. I've been involved with Mr. Gwynn from the inception. I decided to close down 9 holes of Indian Bayou in, I think, 2018. Golf had slowed up. It was costing a lot of money to maintain it. I convinced my partners, the Clariers, that it was in our best interest to explore doing a subdivision. I wanted to pay capital gains on my land. It had appreciated considerably since we bought it for, I think, $4,000 an acre in 1978. Mr. Gwynn is our club champion for several years. Close
Congrats.
friend. I used to represent he and Ray Schultz when they were in the development business. It occurred to me that rather than me having to be back and forth to Indian Bayou on a regular basis to monitor a subdivision, if I could cut a business deal with Curtis, he was an ideal candidate to manage the subdivision development and sales. And so he and I started negotiating. First thing I did was give him golf for life. He bit that hook, line, and sinker. And so we started planning a subdivision. We planned, and I say we because I was with him every day that he wanted to talk about this, and we talked about it a lot. I gave him a power of attorney to represent both Indian Bayou and the entity that he formed, and that's part of your package. Originally, we were going to turn everything we could into a residential lot. The only opposition we really got along the way was from folks at the airport. I happened to have been a pilot, owned a couple of hangars. I went to one of the first pilot meetings and sat there and let them talk about how I was going to shut down the airport if I developed this property. And finally, I remember Ray Watson was sitting next to me. He said, "Mr. Lee, they must not know who you are, the way they're talking about you." He said, "When are you going to tell them who you are?" I said, "Well, let them talk a little more." So they talked a little more. And finally, I got up and told them, "Hey, I don't want to shut your airport down. I got 2 hangars and an airplane out here. I'm going to try to do this right, you know." And by the time I left the meeting, they were wanting, 3 of them were wanting to get on the list to buy lots. So anyway, we started off. We had a lot of wetlands. We wound up being able, I think, to build. Started out in '95. I think finally the initial approval we got was for '86. I never really believed people were anxious to buy lots up against the side of that airport. I also had a bunch of lakes on that piece of property that I was going to have to fill in, and I was arguing with contractors about what that was going to cost. I kept telling them every bit of dirt that came out of those holes out there is either a tee or a green or a mound. All you got to do is shove it back in there. They never believed me. And that was a stumbling block for us to ever get a acceptable construction price initially. But somewhere along the way, I think it was either Lockwood or somebody else mentioned to Curtis that, hey, we need property. And they actually wanted to buy. The initial play was, will you sell us the 10 acres? Because they knew we had planned the subdivision. So the 10 acres that this road that we're talking about tonight, they said, Curtis, would Indian Bayou sell us that land? And I said, Curtis, I've never thought about selling that land. That's the last thing on the list. Maybe the Kelly heirs will sell that piece of land someday. I said, they can't do a subdivision without my help, I don't think, but anybody can sell the last 10 acres in Destin. And so somewhere along the way, it occurred to us, well, why don't we sell them some of the subdivision? So the first deal was, and I knew exactly what I was supposed to make because D.R. Horton had come in and offered to write a check for everything I was ever going to make out there. But I didn't want D.R. Horton in Destin, Florida, much less in Indian Bayou. But I knew what I could make if I'd wanted to make it. So we threw that number at them, and they immediately said, yeah, we'll buy 10 acres for $400,000 an acre. I said, okay. We started negotiating that, and they said, well, we need more land. What about the 10 acres? I said, no, 10 acres is not on the table. I said, Curtis, sell them everything between the airport and the church. That was 15 more acres. They bought 25 acres. When they bought 25 acres, it totally changed what was going on with regard to the subdivision. At that juncture, everything to the south, basically, if any of you are golfers, it was the creek course that we closed down. There's 3 or 4 holes on the south side there. Well, what happened, Curtis and I were wanting to build this road for one purpose only. And bear in mind, we were wanting to build the road. Nobody asked us to build this road. It's not in the LDC that we have to have this road. You could not have denied my subdivision if I met all the other requirements. You know, you couldn't barter for a road because there was no road required. There are already 2 ways in and out of Indian Bayou. Sometimes your engineering department forgets that, I think, but you can come out in front of the clubhouse and take your first left, go through Diamond Lakes. You can get onto Commons innumerable ways once you do that, and then of course you've got the way out now down Indian Trail. But in any event, when we sold the 25 acres to water users, I decided, hey, I don't need this nice clean entrance anymore to the south part of my subdivision, much less do I need to put a road down the middle of a piece of property that all of a sudden everybody seems to have an interest in. So instead of building that road, Indian Bayou Properties provided access in front of the clubhouse to build the entrance road, which now serves Indian Bayou West, which is the 45-lot subdivision that was planned and approved. When we came in to request the minor deviation, and bear in mind, it was a minor deviation to go from 86 lots to 45 lots. But it's a major deviation to get rid of a road that never had any reason to be there in the first place other than the fact we wanted it. If you go back and watch the video, and they've replayed it for us along the way here, it wasn't easy to get approval to build that road. Your engineering department at the time questioned the seriousness of building that road. You know, I've developed probably 1,500 lots in Okaloosa County. I've fought with road engineers and done road studies. Nobody wants an intersection that they don't have to have. All you got to do is look in Wikipedia and or do a quick AI, and it'll tell you, regardless of what your outstanding engineer just told you, any intersection, any is a point of conflict and is not an addition to safety, it is a deduction from safety. Let's see, I don't want to lose my
No, I mean,
train of
and that
thought.
was more than enough. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Well, I'm not done.
All right.
Okay.
I did ask.
Okay.
I want the full story.
Okay. The full story is, and I don't know what happened. I attended one meeting with your city engineer, his assistant, 3 other people, I think with 5 or 6 of us in the room, along with Curtis and myself. I made my pitch. By the time I was done, I told them, you know, I feel like I'm down here trying to build the second phase of Emerald Grant. I don't get it, folks. What are you people paid to do? Oppose anything that seems reasonable and just? I said, this is a road that wouldn't have even been on the table if we had not suggested it. And now we have no use for it. I said, and I pointed out some things to them. The road goes through property that's not even in the city of Destin. That property is county property. I never put anything on that side of the entry road in the city of Destin. Have you checked with the county? Is the county going to even let us put a road through there? If y'all weren't into a fuss with the county, I would have already called county engineering and got their opinion. I know what it would be. County engineer, they have an interest in what goes on commons. A lot of their property fronts commons as well as your property. You know, I guess if the thing were to give me additional time to prepare, I'd go to the county and ask their opinion. I don't think the county would approve of that intersection. I've watched it ever since, you know, I knew this was coming up, and I can attest to what Mr. Braden says. There are times when that traffic flows perfectly. Sometimes there are two cars up at the light. Sometimes it's backed up past your entry to your maintenance yard. But here's the real situation, guys. I've got 10 acres of property. I was perfectly willing to sell or give Curtis the right-of-way when it was going to be beneficial to the development. I wanted a nice, clean entry. I didn't want to have to ride by the rear end of your maintenance yard to get to this subdivision. When that changed, in my mind, the road was no longer a requirement or a necessity. I don't think we made an error when we requested a minor deviation. I don't think the road was on our mind at the time. In my mind, that was, I know better now, in my mind, that was always an option, okay? But again, you do a little research, and I don't do a lot anymore, but if you do a little research, a development order is an obligation. It's not a privilege, okay?
We do have a question, if I could interject real quick on you.
Okay.
Can I ask if the staff, did y'all ever talk to them outside the TRC? I mean, was there ever a discussion with Mr. Quinn or his attorneys?
Yes, ma'am. There were multiple discussions about this particular road. And there's multiple emails talking about this road. And again, the engineering's position's always been to build this road because it is part of the permit. It's part of the DO. We can't make that decision not to build the road, so.
Does it go through county property? Would that be
No, ma'am, this whole area is in the city. It was part of the original city charter.
Shows how little
We have a map on our wall back in the back that shows this in the city, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, he's been giving us the whole layout for the last 15 minutes. I just wanted to make sure.
Let me just help explain the difference between the DO and the TRC, and they can respond, or staff can add to it. But staff, I've been in the conversation. Staff and the applicant talked about this road. They knew staff's position was that the road had to be built. That's why they came in for the DO amendment. Then the confusion appears to have happened once they submitted for the DO amendment. Staff didn't put in the comments any kind of rejection of the road because there's nothing in the code to say that it needed to be rejected. At that point, they were reviewing it against the code. So TRC is separate from the existing development order where council required the road as a condition. And that's why now council can decide if the road is required, the road is required under the DO. Council can decide if they want to remove that requirement, keep it, or allow the applicant a continuance to a date certain so that we wouldn't have to re-advertise. So I just wanted to clarify if what staff is saying sounds confusing. They're not contradicting themselves. The applicant and staff discussed this many times from February on, maybe earlier, and the TRC is a different process. It's just when they look at code and say, is what they're asking for prohibited by code? No, it's not. That's why it was okay with TRC. Did I state that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Might I react to your illustrious engineer's comment? I was in a meeting with that gentleman. That gentleman did not voice objections to the road. The discussion was, his assistant mentioned, oh, there should be two ways in and two ways out. And I said, ma'am, there are two ways in, two ways out. His position was it wasn't something that they should take a position on, that it was up to council because council had approved a development order.
Correct.
He didn't sit there in that room for 2.5 hours with me and tell me why he was against the road.
I appreciate that.
As recently as the last 2 months, I've had discussions with staff, primarily with your city manager. He told me staff didn't have a dog in this fight, that it was for council to decide. I was told, of course, I can tell y'all a lot of things. Somebody needs to go read your LDC about what happens at a TRC meeting. For once, we're supposed to know what's going on. We're supposed to be able to be there. I'm told the TRC now meets electronically, apparently whenever the hell they want to, okay? Your land use attorney is supposed to be present. Okay.
All right, we'll bring it back.
Anyway,
Councilman Braden.
one last comment, okay? I think it's been a month and a half, 2 months ago. Discussion was held before the council about this piece of property. I think Kevin brought up, Indy Bio has a piece of property. I know, Dewey, you were interested in recreational issues and a place potentially where you could build a recreational facility. Your city manager has approached me about buying this piece of property. How does that play? Okay? He had it appraised. I told him, I said, I'm not going to react until I know the outcome of this road. Okay? And I haven't reacted to his appraisal.
I appreciate that. And then I'll just thank
But
you for not
one
selling
last
the PR
comment,
work.
and then I'm gone.
All right.
Okay.
You truly are a lawyer, aren't you?
All we do by building this road is create a situation where we're dictating the future use of the property. We're dividing a perfectly good 10-acre piece of property into two lesser-sized parcels. Okay? I've got churches interested in buying the property. I don't think they'll be interested in buying smaller pieces. Okay? I apparently got the city interested in buying it. I guess maybe if I build them a road and they buy it, they don't have to build a road if they got a plan to build a road someday. I don't know what's going on, guys. I just know that we were scheduled for July 6th. Okay? July 6th. He didn't write a letter till August the 7th. I was at the beach on July 6th. I said, Curtis, I don't want to run in there on a Monday. Wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, y'all embroiled in everything. We couldn't get on the agenda. I think the next one was annexation. We didn't get on the agenda. Here we are tonight.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, folks. I hope you will do the right thing. And
Councilwoman Trammell, with your motion, they'll go to discussion? Or? I was just doing a motion so we could get to it, but Councilman Destin, if you got a motion.
I do have a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Lee, Mr. McGill, you still seek a continuation?
yes, sir. I would like to get the county involved. I would like, I'm going to probably go, I didn't think I had opposition. I'm going to get a traffic engineer. I'm going to get a land use attorney. I'm going to make a records request. I'm going to know everything that's passed between him and all of these people that y'all pay to keep good things from happening in the city of Destin without a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on. I could sit here and give you examples. You know, I waited 2 weeks for Kim Kopp to look at a letter that I had to put up in order to start selling lots in the subdivision. 2 weeks to look at a letter.
All right. You got your answer?
In that case, I'll move that we continue this issue. Do you have a date certain? Or what do you want to do?
Do you have a date?
Do you have a date, Mr. Quinn?
Yeah, if you're asking us to move it. Button, please.
30 days, good? Is 30 days good?
Good. It's not just me and Curtis. I've got an idea about who I'm going to engage for both road studies and for land use attorney, their availability.
We have 60 days at wherever the next council meeting.
That'll be fine. I'll move that it be continued for 60 days.
Second.
I'll second that.
All right, motion second. I will call the vote. When you go to the county, please let them know that we need a green light at that intersection to move up the traffic. There's still some win-wins for us here. We're not against you. Go help us with the traffic too while you're talking to the county engineers.
Yeah.
All right.
And
6-0,
Mr.
so
Lee, I
moved.
wasn't aware that you were disappointed in the 2 weeks, because that's the first time you mentioned it, but that letter was reviewed by myself, the planning department, the engineering department, the city manager, and had to do with banking. So just for you to know.
All right, we're going to move on to public
I
hearing
try
B.
to tread very lightly with your city attorney.
All right, B, Ms. Kopp.
Going over to Ms. Dieter. Once I read the title.
Yes. Good
All right,
evening.
ordinance 2608 LC, an ordinance of the City of Destin, Florida, deleting Article 14, capital improvements, and Article 8, Section 80700, approved transportation plans of the Land Development Code, and adopting by reference the City of Destin Mobility Plan by creating a new Article 9, Transportation Corridor Management, providing for authority, providing for findings of fact, providing for incorporation into the Land Development Code, providing for conflicting provisions, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, go ahead, Daniel.
Yes, good evening, council. So as Kim stated, this is draft Article 9 of the Land Development Code update. Article 9 is consisted of Article 14, which is our transportation corridor management within the current Land Development Code. What this does is currently in Article 14, it lays out the identified projects, transportation projects that the city has approved in the past. And so what the consultant did when they drafted this mobility plan was they took all of these identified projects from Article 14 and essentially put them into the mobility plan. So that's why in Article 9, you'll see that it's a lot shorter. What we've done is just adopted this mobility plan by reference. So that way, as projects are amended, kind of like what we discussed earlier, as projects are amended and revised, this mobility plan citation stays relevant throughout this article. So within Article 9, you will notice that the street classifications are revised slightly. The city engineer revised these classifications based on the applicable classifications that are in practice today. Aside from that, again, as I stated, staff has adopted the mobility plan by reference. And so what this article does is it preserves future transportation corridors before development patterns make implementation difficult or cost prohibitive. So again, if there's an identified transportation plan that's been approved by the city in the past, hence why it's on the mobility plan, then these corridors are outlined in the mobility plan, and what that would do through Article 9 would be ensures that when a property comes in for either development or redevelopment on a site that contains one of these corridors, that land that is needed for that transportation corridor or right-of-way is dedicated to the city. Whether that be through a plat, or through an easement, or through a deed, that would be the city council's prerogative as to how that gets recorded. But the value of that land could be credited towards the mobility fees. Since mobility fees got brought up, the value of that land could be credited for that development to help offset those mobility fees. And that's how it is today as well. So there's really no major changes to this aside from, again, the road classifications that the city engineer has revised. And this did get a unanimous recommendation from LPA on Thursday, July 16th for approval. And staff is here to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Seeing that this is a public hearing for ordinance number 2608 LC, if anyone from the public wishes to speak, this is your time to do so during public comments. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion at this time.
Mayor, I'll make the recommended motion. I move that the city council approve ordinance 26-08-LC on first reading and forward it to second reading.
All right, thank you. And I got a second by Councilwoman Hebert. Any further discussions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, 6-0, so moved. Comments from the council? Councilman Braden.
Thank you, Mayor. We was talking about the Clement Taylor Calhoun Park a while ago. It just seems like it's been sitting dead idle for quite a while. Does it just appear to be that, just sitting dead idle for a while, or is there actually being work done over there?
So the project has been sitting idle for a couple months now. We've been waiting on this bathroom to come in. So when we finally got the email stating when the bathroom was coming in, they've since been out there the last week preparing the site for that bathroom to come in. So,
It looks like
it has been sitting idle for a couple months because they have done most everything they've needed to do.
So that park is 100% complete other than the bathrooms going on it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said it, so you're saying that that park is 100% complete other than the bathrooms? Because it looks horrible.
So once the bathrooms, so we couldn't put some of the sidewalk in because the crane had to deliver this bathroom. So when the crane sets the bathroom, at that point, we can go and finish a couple of, I'm going to guess about 200 feet of sidewalk, and then put the irrigation in, and the project will be complete.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Mayor.
Is there anything in our insurance? I know this is asking, but it always seems like we have delays. Can we remove half the fence or rework the fence to section off the construction zone that's left? Because
Not really, because the way the bathroom sits, we would have to reclose it all back off to bring in the bathroom, so.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Good.
Do we have a date on the delivery?
I thought, in the bathrooms like the ones here at Pickleball, it's sitting on a slab, so why can't we pour the slab, pour the sidewalks, and do the irrigation?
Well, so if y'all will remember, these bathrooms are kind of sitting up in the air a little bit. So once they deliver that bathroom, they'll finish all the concrete work around this bathroom itself and then pour the rest of the sidewalks. So because how the crane has to maneuver through the trees, we didn't want to put brand new sidewalk out there and it get tore up when they brought in the bathroom.
Do we have a date? Yeah.
Do we have a date predicted when the bathroom's going to arrive?
Yes, sir. It's September the 10th. Our PIO said it earlier, and her name is just falling out of my head, but Tamara. Yes, sir. It's September the 10th is the date of the bathroom.
How soon after bathroom
That's
deliveries
what the
will it
question was,
be ready?
And if you work quickly, we may get it by the beginning part of October. Get it done.
That's what I'm hoping. I know the contractor's ready to get this project over with.
Sure is.
I liked our undergrounding where if they're late, we can start making money. So maybe that needs to be a always thing. Councilmember Stevens.
All right, thank you. So we put one item under my name. So previously, we directed staff to amend the LDC to reduce the city's freeboard requirement from 2 feet to 1 feet as applicable. So we've been getting some citizens reaching out. And since we're kind of getting the ordinance kind of put together, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that I move to invoke the pending ordinance doctrine for the LDC amendment, removing the 2-foot freeboard flood zone requirement and replacing it to the Florida Building Code minimum requirement of 1 freeboard citywide as applicable.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any discussions? All right, seeing none. Sounds like you had some help. I like it. Well worded. All right, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, 6-0, so moved. All right, anything else? All right, Councilman Destin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We've lost our city manager, it appears, but I think our recreational director may be able to address. I've had several complaints over the last week or so about seaweed at the Leonard Destin Park. I went by and took some pictures and talked to the staff members who said, yes, in fact, they were having a lot of complaints about the seaweed, seagrass that's all along the shoreline there, and that they had attempted to pick it up and put it in bags a couple of times, and that it is very heavy, and that's a pretty cumbersome job, and that the next morning it's all back again. So I know they've tried to deal with it, but I'll ask the city manager to talk to you guys about if there's any solution, because it is covered with that black
Yes, sir.
seagrass, whatever in the world it is, and it's very hard to lay on the beach down there, so
Okay.
when the city manager gets back.
We'll stay on that a little better.
Yeah, I mean.
I'll get some extra crew out there.
You know, in the good old days, when the tide was going out, we'd shove it back in the water and it went out through the jetties. I would think there's nothing wrong with that, since that's where it came from. That way you don't have to have it and put it in bags and drag it up the hill and put it in dumpsters. But I don't think the folks that are working there have the ability to do that every morning, because it looks like it would be quite a chore. But just look and try to figure out what you can do to make that beach a little more usable.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good deal. Like it. Councilwoman Trammell.
Yes, I just returned from the Florida League of Cities conference, and while I was down there, I talked to Bernard from FPL, and he is retiring the end of September. And my request to him was to get the paperwork done to allow the lighting on our light poles on Highway 98 before he leaves. So that was a challenge. He did write it down in his calendar, so he hopefully will be working on that before he goes. I'm afraid when somebody else steps in new, that'll just get lost in the shuffle. Other than that, thank you so much.
That was great. Okay, Councilwoman Hebert.
Thanks, Mayor. One of the things I wanted to do is switch with you, if I can make a motion for the Emerald Coast. You were the alternate, and you weren't here last time, and we needed a replacement for Mr. Bagby since he left.
Yeah, the regional council.
I would rather be the alternate, not the primary, so I don't know can someone nominate he be the primary and I be the secondary at this point for the ECRC?
I mean, you can make that motion.
I'll make the motion to switch spots, be the alternate for ECRC, and have the mayor be the primary for the ECRC committee.
All right, thank you. Seeing no further discussions, as always, it comes with $0. Just an act of love, so I'll call the vote. Hopefully, we can help get the 98 corridor going. That's the goal. All right, thank you so much for that. Oh, yeah.
And then I, too, was at the Florida League of Cities last week, and there was a lot of wonderful people throughout the state of Florida recognizing the small cities, the challenges that we had, and bringing back to our constituents the urgency on voting no for the property taxes to be alleviated, because if you look in the long run, those property taxes feel like they're a lot on your home, but the amount of small nickel and dimes, they'll have to find other places. You'll end up paying more than what you're currently paying for your property taxes if you don't really do the homework and just go in and vote yes or no. Just know what you're voting. Know that if you vote that you want to do away with the property tax, you might end up hurting our small city and have more taxes of different sorts added to your each individual way of being taxed for our small city. So keep that in mind when you're voting.
All right, Councilmember Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Bernard's going to be sorely missed. He's been a really good community partner. And even 6 or 7 years ago when we were taking over looking at taking over the electric utility and they began their smear campaign, I've never had someone slander me and be so friendly. And anyways, they were running these ads against me, and it was, but Bernard was real sweet about the whole thing. No, and with the mobility fee stuff, I'm looking forward to working on it. I do think it needs a lot of work. I will say, dealing with the staff on it, they're simply administering one of the, the ordinances that we passed. And so I don't fault the staff for, like what Mr. Goff was dealing with. It was just what the code said. So no fault to them, but I am looking forward to working on it, and thanks for the support tonight.
Oh, absolutely. That was going to be my comment. Is one thing I do remember when we were doing the impact fees was this is the max. We can always go lower, and I'm glad we're looking at the lower, because while I can't speak for all government, I know we do a good job for Destin, but I definitely believe that the private sector does a great job for the community. And so I'm looking forward to promoting what we all know works great, which is private coming in and letting the public support it. So with that, Ms. City Attorney Kim Kopp.
I do have one item. You probably noticed that Councilmember Schmidt's not here tonight. This is his third consecutive absence, and pursuant to the charter, he did ask for council to excuse his absence formally. He was away for the first one, and now he has opened a new business, Crispy Cones, obviously, and so it got a little busier than they anticipated, and he needed to cover tonight. So
Do we need to make a motion to?
Yes, and vote, please.
I'll make a motion that we excuse Councilmember Schmidt's absences on the third consecutive one.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
All right, seconded by Councilman Stevens. And any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. I thought you were going to do it.
Thank you, Council.
All right, ayes have it, so moved. Thank you, Ms. Cobb. Anything else?
No, thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you all for staying here. So if you have any public comments, this is your time to do so. Yes, sir. Get up here, just hit that gray button, let the light go red. Name and address,
Hey.
and the floor is yours.
Good evening. Tarek Camp, Vintage Circle. So I think I already sent you guys an email about it. I don't really understand why it's so hard to get code in our city to show up for noise-related issues. Essentially, if you put in a noise complaint, I don't know if you guys ever have, they show up days later. So no offense, but if you show up a day later, you can close it out as unfounded, but you weren't there. You have no idea, realistically. Essentially, my neighbors have chickens that crow and whine. It's incredibly loud. I think I gave you guys links so you can listen to it. You can hear it all throughout my property. I have no idea why for 2 years I've had to fight with code on, essentially for the first year, they tried to say that it was exempt. That's not the case. If you read the ordinance, fought for a long time about that, filed a complaint to the city manager. It's unfortunate he can't defend himself, but filed one with him. You guys just made it disappear, didn't go anywhere. Finally came back, someone actually helped me, and all of a sudden now you guys are investigating it. Unfortunately, from the investigations, you guys don't show up for it. So then because you guys don't show up, or you show up incredibly late, there's no noise. So I'm really at the point of I have no idea what to do because you guys have created a conundrum of rules that I have to follow, but you're not showing up for them. And I'd love some help. Spoken to him. He said that they would send people, they would have people essentially, I could call in, and then essentially they would actually show up on time. That didn't happen.
Is there a time of day or night that's
Yeah, it's usually in the
consistent?
mornings. Yeah, it's usually in the mornings.
Tuesdays?
Weekends are the worst.
Okay, but in the mornings, early, like,
Like 6 to 9-ish.
maybe we have code come camp out there tomorrow before they go to the school and do the crossing guard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's however you guys want to play it. I would love to just make everyone's life easy and just call in and actually get it responded to. That'd probably be the easiest for everyone involved. That's what I would love to see, but I'm kind of at loss for words anymore.
Not that it matters because the noise is the noise. Is it roosters as well as hens? Or?
No, roosters are exempt though.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
But it is roosters?
It's
or-
not roosters
Okay,
anymore.
just
Nope,
hens?
nope.
Okay.
I had to solve that myself.
Gotcha.
All right, City Manager, I don't know if you heard most of this, but you're aware of the situation?
Yes, sir, I've heard it.
And can you make a priority to see that code enforcement gets over there to find out what in the world's going on?
We'll do our very best. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We
Like
can
the
make
6
sure they-
a.m. crew might need to be up. Like the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. when they're doing their most noise.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Wait. Are you retiring as well?
Don't you think?
I've got a daughter going away to college for her freshman year on Sunday, so I need to keep working another 7 or 14 years. I don't know what it's going to be. Shane Moody, President, CEO of the Destin Chamber. You mentioning Amendment 3 triggered a couple of things, and I know y'all probably heard this at League of Cities, but it is polling terribly right now. The polling is dropping. None of the major organizations to which we belong have taken a position on it yet, which has kind of kept us from taking a position on it yet. Usually when this happens, the organizations we belong to probably are not going to take a position because they know it's going to lose. So it seems that the polling, even down in South Florida, and now that nonprofits have been speaking up, going, we're going to lose all of our money in the big cities, it's becoming even more important. Second thing is the half-cent infrastructure surtax for Okaloosa County is on the ballot in November as well. So all 4 chambers in the county, the EDC and ECAR are all campaigning to get that passed again. You all get our emails from us. So on Tuesdays when Weekly Wave comes out, that's tomorrow, there's a banner across the top that you can click on and go directly to the infrastructure surtax page of the county and see everything that we've done with it. But each organization is running their own campaign. So I went back and I asked Elizabeth to create something, and it took her like 10 minutes to create it, and it looks really good. So just want you to know that that's out there as well. And on the infrastructure surtax, it doesn't say yes or no on the ballot. It says for or against. So we want people to vote for on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, anyone else? Pure entertainment. Gotta love it. All right, thank you guys for being here. The city council meeting is adjourned.